Alright, welcome to my review of Gozyuger episode 10. So we finally entered the double digits for this series. So, Gozyuger episode 10. So the first half of this series was wacky, silly, goofy fun, and then the later half was all serious, all battle, and then it got to the big meat and potatoes plot of this episode. So that's one thing I really enjoyed about this episode. It did have a main plot point within the episode, but they were dealing with Monster of the Week shenanigans and giving our characters some development. So I wouldn't really call this episode filler, right? Some people might view it as filler, but this episode did give us a Sumino and a Kinjiro focused episode, as we got to have the two characters bond and have a moment together. So that's great that we're having more pairs with our rangers and sort of having them work off each other and work together in episodes, which I think is something we'll probably see a lot moving forward later down the line, now that the team is fully established. So this episode opens up in the bad guys' hideout with Tega Queen, or June Queen, whatever you want to call her. I forgot her name already. But Osai, who controlled the Daijujin, or the Megazord, is now under the bad guys' control. And I thought they were setting up a whole story arc with this that would last a couple of episodes, but that wasn't really the case with this episode, because it only lasted this episode, and it looks like we won't be seeing that character moving forward within the next couple of episodes. Maybe they'll show back in like 20 or 10 episodes later down the line, because he views himself as the mentor for this team. But we did have some really great moments in this episode, and some things that I wasn't really thinking that would happen. So the whole premise of this episode is there's this Monster of the Week that's based on the Showa area, the Showa era from back in the day, and he's very retro, very old, and the character that gets to work on this off this monster is Kinjiro, and Kinjiro is very old, but he's living in the present day, so it's a really great character moment for him as well, because he does say, yes, I'm a Showa man living in the Reiwa era, but I'll embrace the Reiwa era and keep my memories of the Showa in the past. So the whole premise with how they beat this monster is because he clings onto nostalgia, and nostalgia is so cool, they're able to beat him that way, because the whole goofy thing with this Monster of the Week is that he's a fan of the old school Sentai Zubat, not the Pokemon, the Sentai, and how they win him over is they say, oh look, yeah, Showa era is really cool, and it's got a lot of retro stuff, but in the Reiwa era, well, all that, your favorite show, it's got a lot of merch, it's got a lot of figures and stuff like that, and you never had that back in the day. So that's how they beat him. They beat him with merchandise and a really cool battle. Now, while this is going on, you've got Bucat, who's fighting the Rangers in this episode. And when Tegasword Blue comes in, she starts to have like war flashbacks of what happened a couple of episodes ago. And she then summons their ace in the hole, which is Osai, being under the control of the bad guys, and we see the Black Dino Megazord, or the Black Daijujin, whatever you want to call it, which was a real thing in Japan. It wasn't something that Americans only got with the Dino Megazord or Power Rangers. This was an actual toy that they got in Japan, and then Bandai later brought it over to America, or Bandai America brought it over later down the line. And if you're a fan of modern-day Power Ranger toy collecting, then you probably know this Megazord as the NFT Megazord with the black and gold. So with this episode, with Daijujin being summoned, he's causing a bunch of havoc, he's causing a bunch of destruction in this episode. What our Rangers end up doing is they end up actually summoning all the Tegazords together, which was something I didn't really think they would do, because, you know, with the Tegazords, you have to buy them all separately, you have to buy all the figures separately as well. It's kind of a pain, kind of a frustration with everything going on, but what they end up doing is they summon all of the Tegazords, which makes me wonder, is there going to be a combination between all of them later down the line? I don't think so. I get the feeling maybe their weapons can swap around or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. But I know that there was like a power-up teased with some recent scans that I'm probably not going to go into this video because I haven't seen them. I've only just seen like rumors and rumblings and pictures, sketching scans that people post. So with all 5 Tegazords now being able to get summoned onto the field, it is a game changer when our Rangers jump into battle, because instead of having one Megazord fight, well, now we can have 5 separate Zords on the field, which is really cool to see. And I really do like when Rangers have their own individual Zords they can fight. I mean, you saw it a lot in Kako Ranger with the show, with the Battle Borgs, I guess they were called in Power Rangers, or whatever they were called in Kako Ranger. I forget their names. It's something Japanesey that I probably can't pronounce. But with the power of Sentai and the power of friendship, they're able to defeat Daijujin, and they're able to free Osei from the control of the villains, which, like I said, I thought this would be an ongoing plot point that we would have as the episodes would go by. But no, they defeat him in one episode, and like I said, it does establish the plot moving forward. It's not just this, like, power of friendship, we managed to save the day. It is a game changer that all 5 of the Rangers can summon their swords on the field at once when they go battling against the enemy. So I do wonder once Tega Queen comes out, or June Queen, whatever she's freaking called. I know I'm saying her name wrong, but I get the feeling when she makes her debut when Gerudo comes back with his Zord or his mech, which is basically something, I believe the version of the Tiger Queen, from what I remember with all the scans that's floating around, is they'll probably summon all 5 of the Rangers' Tiger Swords to face off against her. So that should be an interesting battle to see moving forward. But overall, this episode was really fun. I really enjoyed the interactions between Suwano and Kinjiro. I think those two worked off each other really well in this episode by having Suwano, who called herself a ace detective in the Reiwa era, and Kinjiro, who's an old man, but he embraces like the present day, but he doesn't live in the past. So that was his moment that he said he's not going to cling on to nostalgia. And at the end of the episode, you did have Suwano give him a really fun nickname, which was called Granjin, which I really do like that pun. I'm sure there's some kind of pun on there, but that's how the subs translated it for me. But episode 10 of Gozyuger was definitely a lot of fun, and I do like where this brand new story arc is going, because it looks like it's setting up a lot moving forward, especially in next week's episode preview, where we're having more legendary rangers show up moving forward in the next big story arc. So the next episode will have the next big Universal World Champion showing up in the next episode, which is going to be Gal Red or Wild Force Red, whatever you want to call it, and I can't wait to see where that's going to go next. But overall, Gozyuger episode 10 was a lot of fun, really cool action scenes, really cool plot stuff moving forward, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next with Gozyuger moving forward. So with that said, I will catch you guys later. Peace out, take care, and bye.